Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Stronghold podcast. I'm here with the owner of Equilibrium, Yang. Yang, what's your last name, dude?
Yang.
Yang is your last name.
Yes. So
it's
my
not
full
Yang.
name is
Yang.
Yeah, my full name is Yang. I know it's funny. You can laugh.
Wait, it's actually Yang.
Yeah, it's actually Yang. My
So
full name.
Your first name. I thought you were joking, dude.
I'm not joking. That's why
I'm not trying to be a dick. I just
didn't
know that.
I know it's funny
now.
because I just realized how funny after I know how to speak English. Like, after I learn English, I know my name sounds like Michael, or John, something.
So wait,
like that.
your family name is Yang, but also your surname or your first name
is Yang.
Is Yang.
Yeah, but different writing in Chinese.
Oh,
and, like
okay.
different meaning.
That makes sense. I had a colleague that I used to work with. Her name was Ching Ching. Mm-hmm. And the same thing. It was the first last name was the same. Yeah. I thought you were joking, dude. I'm sorry, man.
No, I was
I'm
in
just
London.
a white dude from the country of America.
No, I was in London 6 years. Everyone was like, "Oh, your name is what? Yang?" I said, "Yeah."
Because even I told Jake before we came here, I was like, "So, dude, is it?" I don't want to be the dude to mess up anyone's name, so I was like, "Is it
normal,
Yang? Is it Yang?" And then I
Yeah.
didn't know what your last name was, and you're like, "It's Yang," and I was like, "I didn't know if you were joking."
You know what the
or not.
most funny thing is? Like when I when I was registered, like my first Facebook, when I was in London, it's like about 12 years ago or 10 years ago, and then I couldn't.
It wouldn't let you register your name?
Yeah, it said, "Don't be lied. Like, please provide your real name." I said, "What? It is my real name."
That's hilarious.
So I have to change to Yang Yong. So YangYoong, and then they get approved.
And I asked Jake earlier, so I don't know, man. I don't know if it's like Yang or Yang. It's Yang.
It's supposed to be Yang.
Yang. Okay,
Yeah,
see?
it's supposed to be Yang.
Jake, you white motherfucker. You don't know what you're talking about, dude.
I'm sorry.
I asked him earlier.
I've only known you how many years?
But only Americans pronounce like Yang.
Yeah, that's why I asked him.
Yeah, the people from England like always like Young.
Young.
Yeah.
I asked him earlier. I was
Yang.
like, "So Jake, how do you say his name? Is it Yang or is it Yang?" Because I don't
Yang.
want to say it like some like shitty American. And he's like, "Oh, it's Yang," and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I'm glad I asked you, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, dude. So Yang. I'm gonna get it right, dude.
Nah,
See,
it's
Jake
okay.
ruined it for me.
Yeah.
Once the
I'm
beer goes
pretty
down, it's gonna get
easygoing.
worse, dude. It's gonna get worse.
Yeah, I believe.
So Yang is one of the owners of Equilibrium, which is cool, man. Because I'd never met you before. I met you through Jake, and he mentioned sending you a message to have you come on the podcast. Man, it's cool to talk to you because Equilibrium is one of the OG, like the old school gyms in Singapore. Equilibrium's
Thank
been
you.
around as long as I've been in Singapore. I've been here since 2012, 2013. There's not many gyms that have lasted throughout all the years. So I mean, you guys have some staying power. When did you open up?
I think I opened up Equilibrium 2013.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it would have been right around when I got here. And you guys have a Takio Tani as your head coach, right?
Yeah, head coach.
Yeah, right on, man. So what I wanted to ask you, like, Jake, if you don't mind, can you bring up Yang's Instagram so that way we can see? Because Jake was showing me your Instagram earlier today. Man, you have all kinds of people. Like, you've trained with a lot of people. You guys have had a lot of people come through the gym. He was showing me some pictures of like you with Uriah Faber and stuff. So Jake, you want to pull that on the main screen?
So just trying to find the right one.
Yeah, so you've been training for, what are you, man? You're a purple belt?
Yeah, I'm purple belt.
How long have you been training now?
I think 8 years. That's why I'm not a good guy. Like if a guy good, supposed to be black belt. So
Takio doesn't give out those belts easily, I suspect.
Yeah, but I'm lazy. I have
you're
to be
lazy?
honest. Yeah, pretty lazy. I only like training hard like when I got tournament. Yeah, it's pretty bad, pretty wrong. But after the gym getting busy, and my wife get pregnant, so I train in less and less.
Congrats on the baby, by the way.
Yeah, thank
say
you,
8 months,
brother.
right?
Yeah,
First
8 months.
one?
Yeah, first one.
Girl, right?
Yeah, girl.
What's her name?
Oscilla.
So is she Singaporean?
Yeah, no, it's like my wife is PR, and I'm still Chinese citizen. So, like, she and my wife are applying Singapore citizen together. So I'm trying to get her PR.
How did you end up coming to Singapore, man? I'm curious because you opened up the business here. Were you doing something else before that?
Yeah. It's like I'm working in the private equity in Singapore, like in the bank, and my wife, her family just moved to Singapore, like as a investment immigrant, like try to move to Singapore to stay. So, but actually, after they get the PR, no one has time to stay in Singapore because too busy from the business in China. That's why me and my wife just come to Singapore.
Right.
Because before we come to Singapore, we were staying in London, so we plan to stay in London. But our family say, one we staying like close to them, so we choose to Singapore.
They stay in China, is it?
Yeah, they stay in China.
So how did you end up getting into the business trade or into the gym trade? Because that's a weird one. You came from banking, is it?
Yeah.
And then I came, like Jake, I used to be a school teacher. Mm-hmm. So I came from teaching, and I'm always curious to find out. One of the things that a lot of people don't understand is, especially like if you're a small gym, I mean, unless you're like Evolve, unless you're like one of the corporate gyms, like it's all regular people who just have a passion for martial arts, right? If you go to most gyms in Singapore, again, unless they're the big corporate ones, it's usually owned by just regular businessmen, people that love martial arts that maybe weren't even doing that as like a job. It's just a passion of theirs, so they wanted to open up a gym. So you always see it's like a lot of these regular people who just love martial arts and they do it in their spare time trying to open up gyms and try to find a way to be successful in a very competitive market like Singapore.
Not really though. It's like basically all the people who close to me, my friends, know the story. It's like before I opened Equilibrium, like a branch of my friends, they were all training at Evolve.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and Takeo used to teach in Evolve.
Yeah, that's how I met him.
Yeah, and then I don't know why he got fired from Evolve, and like, how to say?
Did you train there? Were
Yeah,
you
I was training Evolve.
So you were at Evolve too. You might have been
Yeah.
there at the same time I was. When did you train there? I used to train in Pomo. I was at Pomo.
I trained in Far East.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's why.
I think I left there in like 2014 maybe.
Yeah, that's why.
Something like
That's
that.
why. But to be honest, I really like how to say regret to open the gym. You know.
Why do you say that?
Too much job.
It's a lot. It's a lot, right?
It's not. You're never making money. You're just like break even, losing money. And actually, I'm not like want to open the gym be like a part of the business, or I don't want to open the gym for feel like a gym owner. I just like, for example, in the beginning, I was want to just training with Takeo. For example, no, not for example, because like I was grew up in China and I went to London for university and a master, but I still like before I in the industry, I really think it's like martial art. So you have to pick up one teacher, you have to follow the teacher.
Yeah.
So when Takeo get fired from Evolve, I was so sad.
Was he your coach at that time? Oh, so he was coaching you already at that time.
Yes. Like I was so sad, and like the other friends of me, group of mine, like we all feel sad, like because we just like even back then we were just a white belt, but we have a plan. You know, when you just start, you always want to have a big.
I'll be a black belt.
Yeah,
in this
have a good
many
plan.
years.
Yes, I want to train hard. Yes, I want to train hard. I want to become a good black belt. I just want to follow Takeo, and then he got fired. So I still training at like Evolve for 1 year till my contract finish, and then Takeo said, "Okay, why not we open a gym together?" And I say, "Okay, maybe it could work." And then it's really hard for make it work.
It's really hard. So for anybody listening that's thinking about opening up a gym.
No. Training in the gym is more fun.
Training in the gym is definitely more fun.
More fun.
I'll tell you what, man. It's a lot. You know, people really don't understand, especially in these times, like the COVID times, right? Everything's changed. Those gyms that are, you have other classes too, right? You're not only BJJ.
Yeah, I have Muay Thai.
So thank goodness you have something else, because the gyms that are really struggling are the pure BJJ gyms.
Yes.
I mean, they can't do anything except solo drilling, like. But particularly in this climate, it's tough, man. Like the margins are really thin. It's not a lot of profit. You got to put in a lot of time. I mean, the only reason that my gym is profitable pretty quickly is because my wife and I teach every class.
That's it. If you are the owner and the instructor,
Yes.
you maybe can make some money.
That's it.
You maybe can make some money if you're working hard.
Dude,
If you're working hard, if you calculate everything correct.
If you have to pay for like visas and you have to pay for all this other housing, no way, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I live with my wife's parents, and we're the only ones that teach everything. So I got no rent. I got no rent to pay, and then I don't have any instructors to pay, basically, right? So straight away, pretty much all we have to do is cover rent. So it's like, okay, if we cover rent, then everything extra is just bonus, right?
Yes, exactly.
So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, do you remember what it was like in 2014, 2015 when you used to go to the jiu-jitsu competitions? There were like 5-7 gyms.
Yes.
2019, the 20, 30 gyms on the list. Like, there's always these new gyms popping
Yes.
up. And then I just look around and I'm like, okay, there's going to be a cycle of new ones. Those ones are going to leave. There's going to be, especially after COVID, like a lot of these gyms are going to go because gyms are romantic. You know what I mean? You know what I mean in the romantic sense? Like, people idealize. They're like, oh, I'm going to open up a gym. We're going to have all these instructors. It's going to be great. But you don't really realize how difficult it is and how much work goes into it.
Yes.
Right? Until you're actually doing it. You have to pay your employees. You have the social media, the marketing. The classes have to be run well. It's just like always drama pops up, right? With the students and instructors, whatever. Like all this stuff that you have to manage on a day-to-day basis. It can be a lot. Hey.
That's why now it's like I'm pretty easygoing with everything.
You learn to just relax, right?
I learned. So like when everything's happening, I say, I'm cool. I said it before. It's normal. I'm cool with it. It's okay.
Brush it off, dude.
Yes.
Just brush it off.
Yes.
But you guys are one of the older gyms in Singapore. I mean, 13. So you've been open for 7 years?
7 years,
Wow.
yeah.
That's pretty good, man. That's a pretty long shelf life for Singapore.
Yes.
How'd you guys manage it? What are you doing over there? I mean, everybody loves
Try
your
to learn how
facilities.
to, like, if I look back the history, I opened the gym, is the way I learned how to cut the cost.
Right.
Slowly.
In the beginning, you think you can get away with a lot.
Yes.
Right? And then over time, you start to realize.
Yes. Man, gym is such a difficult business.
It is. The margins are really thin.
Before I was thinking the math is simple, okay? Your cost is like your cost, for example, your cost is 100 and you charge $1 per people, you have 100 member, you're fine. No.
Yeah, I know, it's not like that.
No.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
And then you juggle all the personalities of your students, the instructor. You know, you get weird days where it's like, it's not working, some things are tough. Like, yeah, it's
That's
just
right. Gym, you have to have a good responsibility. Sometimes I keep the gym because responsibility, not because I fun or something. It's like
you feel because you own it, right? It's yours.
Yeah. It's like technically
child.
like it's under my wife's name because she's like the PR, so she's allowed doing the business.
But it is, right? It's like, I mean, your business is like, in some ways, it's like your child, right? You started it. You started it from some place. You try to build. I mean, you guys have stuck around for a long time, and no doubt a lot of it is to Takio. I mean, he's probably the most qualified in terms of competition, probably the most qualified instructor in Singapore. He's the only ADCC champion in Singapore.
No.
Who else?
No.
Didn't Takio win ADCC?
No. No-gi.
Yeah.
No, World No-gi, IBJJF.
Oh, IBJJF.
Yeah,
World
IBJJF.
No-gi. Oh, I thought he won
IBJJF.
ADCC. Okay, so it was World Championship at No-gi.
Yeah.
But I
So-
mean, he's extremely well qualified. He's been there for a long time. Jake talks a lot about Equilibrium. I mean, at least for him, when he came here, we're 5 minutes away from his work.
Yeah, thank you. No, I understand. Like, actually, for me, it's like, maybe Takio is still old school thinking, but I'm not. It's like, how to say, I think Singapore is so small, and how to say, in any business or any martial art or any sport, if you want to have fun, you have to deal with people. If you like demanding too much, like, oh, he go to that gym, he cannot go to my gym, or my gym cannot go to that gym, then you cannot have fun.
Yeah.
And then you just have smaller. For me, I think it's like, that's why it's like, I want to go to all the gym to training, open mat. I welcome everyone from the other gym, go to my gym to training.
For sure, dude. We should
Yes.
definitely sort that out. Come here and train sometime. I'll go down to Equilibrium. That's one of the things I wanted to do with this podcast. I mean, I've had students from pretty much every gym in Singapore on here, I would say. I mean, I've had Major on, he's the head coach of Highlight Reel. I got guys from Impact, I get guys from Juggernaut, I get guys from Equilibrium now. I mean, I've had people from every major gym on the podcast, and it's just fun for me, right, to sit and talk to other owners, gym owners, other students, and just talk shop. right? I mean, I love martial arts. I assume you do. Everybody that comes here, especially if you choose to take this on as a career, like there's just no question you have a deep love for the sport and for the training or for whatever it is, right? Everybody gets something different out of it. But when I started and I always talk about this on the podcast, but when I started in Singapore, and around when you opened up, 2012, 2013, the gyms were a lot more tribal. People didn't cross-train as much. Right?
Yes. I used to thinking like that as well.
It was like that.
Yeah, it was like that.
But now, everybody goes everywhere. Like, when we have open mats, dude, we get people from every gym. Like, it's gotten a lot better.
I think it's normal.
It used to be like that kind of old-school Brazilian thing where people wouldn't be in the picture.
Yes.
You know,
I think because the whole world is going that way.
Yeah.
Really, really, the whole world is going that way. For example, because of Takeo, so I know like some of his old teammates, like I bring them coming to Singapore, and so I was asking, for example, some famous jiu-jitsu fighter, I think in their animes from the match, we saw they fighting hard between each other, they're from different team. But then we ask them, oh no, he's a good guy, he's cool, we're training together sometimes. I say, oh really? That was like 5-6 years ago. It's already like that, you know. Like the young generation, they don't really mind. Oh, if you're really good, like I was asking Braulio and Homelo, I say, do you mind training with people from other gym? No, I don't mind. Yeah,
dude. Going back to your Instagram, I mean, Jake was showing me some pictures earlier. Are you training with Braulio Stima? Are you training with Homelo Bahal? And so, can you pull it up, Jake, on the main screen? Yeah, there you go. So let's roll through your Instagram, dude. You've been training with all kinds of people.
Here's you and Faber, digging it. Do you work with which UFC fighters do you work with?
A few. It's like Song Yadong and Liu Pingyuan.
Yeah, because you've done, like you've cornered them and stuff like that.
Yeah, and they're gonna have some more. Gonna have some more in the future. Now they're training in the PI in Beijing, in Shanghai.
Yeah. We wanted to get you in so you could give us some inside tips on
I got
Chinese fighters.
Actually, I got some gift for you too, but I was too rushed. I forgot. It's from UFC.
Excellent.
So I'll talk to you guys next time.
Jake, for sure. Jake was telling me that you've got that you're in the know with a lot of the Chinese fighters. That fight in the UFC and stuff like that. What's the scene like there? I mean, I went to China in 2017. I went to Shanghai back when I was at Trifecta because the owner was thinking about opening up some jiu-jitsu schools or something like that in Shanghai. So we went there, scoped everything out, which was cool. But you could tell that a lot of the students were pretty unfamiliar with what jiu-jitsu is. I mean, you've got a few fighters from China. Of course, Zhang Weili. You have Song Yadong. You have what's the Leech? What's his name?
Li Jingliang.
Yes. Liang, you have him.
Yes.
And so they're starting to really become a Chinese presence in MMA, especially now with the UFC Performance Institute opening up in Shanghai. What's your vibe like on that? I mean, do you feel like right now it seems like Russia's just coming and taking over the UFC hard, right? Like you have a lot of Dagestani fighters, a lot of Russian fighters, Khabib, Pyotr Yan. I feel like in 5 to 10 years, China is going to be right there. I mean, they have so many people. So much of their culture is steeped in martial arts. And then, of course, with Zhang Weili now, I just feel like China is right on the precipice of just bursting through in the next 5 years and having this huge wave of Chinese fighters, similar to like how the Russian fighters have come over the last few years. What's the situation like there?
You're asking about MMA?
Yeah, I mean, in China? Is it becoming more popular now that
definitely
you have
more
all
popular
these?
in China. Definitely more popular. For example, when I just opened up the gym, and my friends, my family ask, what are you doing now? I say, I'm planning to open up the gym. So, okay, what kind of the gym? I say, jiu-jitsu. And because in Chinese, jiu-jitsu is same pronounced as the kind of other stuff you can float your body in the weird way.
Wait, it's the same as what?
It's same pronunciation as one other sport is like, I don't know if it's a sport or something. It's a show. Like people can float your joints together. So,
I've never heard this before.
Yeah, it's like if you go to the circuit, you will see people show
the circus.
Yeah, in circus, it's like people can float the.
Oh, is it
like contortionist?
Contortionist.
Yes.
Wait,
sorry, my English is bad.
No, dude, your English is good. I didn't know that.
So in Chinese, like 7 years ago, or 6 years ago, if you talk about people ask, what are you doing? I'm doing jiu-jitsu. Oh, so you're very flexible.
So how do you say it in Chinese? Is it the same?
柔术.
Oh, so, and that is like the same as contortion.
柔术, yeah.
Oh,
yes,
interesting.
yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Makes sense, except it's not willing, right? You're breaking against their will.
Yes. Like, so imagine in 10 years ago, when people asking you, hey, what are you doing? You talk about jiu-jitsu. In your mind, you imagine like strong muscle man, black belt, beat up people. And then in his mind, you think about you're dressing a tiny clothes.
Dude, in a circus,
it's like, do something like that. So it's totally wrong, man.
That's funny, man.
But now you're talking about jiu-jitsu. Everyone know about
Everyone
it.
knows.
Yes. Talk about BJJ tournament is like, you have to max 500 people.
Yeah,
for
I
each
know.
tournament
When
in
I went to China, so one of my old colleagues is teaching there. He's teaching in Shanghai. His name's Guilherme Arujo. He's a black belt Brazilian guy, GF team, and he went and started teaching there full time. And so when we were passing through China, there was a couple competitions that were going on at the same time. So I thought about, if we were going by, do we enter or something like that? They'd already had like 400 or 500 people in the competition. I was like, damn. 400 or 500 people, like, and all of them are white belts and blue belts, right? I mean, there's like a couple brown belts, a couple black belts in the country. Most of them are imported, right? Not a lot of local ones yet. But still, I was like, damn, man, 400 just white and blue belts just going to all these companies.
Yes.
I mean, it just seems like a matter of time before China just explodes.
That
through.
helped MMA a lot.
Yeah.
You see, because people know about jiu-jitsu all because MMA. Because MMA getting so much popular, everyone talking about MMA, and in China, some people start to gamble MMA online. I know it's illegal, but people
Once the
still
gambling
doing that.
starts, dude.
Yeah.
Once the gambling starts, it's going to become huge.
Gambling
They love to
stories.
gamble in China.
Guys, put money on Song Yadong. Every time when he fight, I put money on him. I win money. In Singapore, it's like I put money second round knockout. It's 1-9, 9 times return, dude.
By the way, you should look at Song Yadong. Who was the last fight that he had? That really good fight, close fight with
The Vera, Malone,
who's it?
Malone Vera.
Marlon Vera.
Yeah, Marlon Vera,
great
yeah.
fight. Cheeto
Yeah.
Vera, the guy that just fought Sean O'Malley.
Yeah,
what a great fight, man.
But Marlon Vera.
Small. He's a little smaller too, right? Because I think Marlon went up a weight class.
He talked too much after the fight, and we got attacked from people from his country on Instagram. You know,
He's from Ecuador, right? Or
yeah,
South America,
Ecuador.
somewhere.
Like people think, like people start like.
You're getting trolled by the Ecuadorians.
Yes. You know what I say? It's like, but I really understand what they're thinking because China being from a poor country, like when I was a kid, China was very poor. So like we look up people from Hong Kong, Japan, Korea, like really, really poor when I was a kid. And then after Song win the fight, I got some comments like, okay, now you guys got money, you guys can buy everything, you guys can buy UFC, can buy the referee.
Can buy the referee.
Yeah, I say,
Like,
okay,
dude,
then what can I say? I've been there. I understand what you think about. So just go.
it's like it was one fight, man. He's only had a
Yeah.
couple fights in the UFC,
Yes,
but
yes.
he's good, man. He's good. He's I mean, he's probably the best prospect out of China, I would say. Of course, other than Zhang Weili, who's number
Yes,
one right now,
yes,
right?
yes.
Man, that fight between her and Joanna, that shit was crazy. That's the best female fight of all time.
Yes.
Period. Of any-
Zhang Weili used to Equilibrium.
She does.
Yeah.
Oh, hook me up, dude. Next time she's there. My wife loves her.
But-
my wife is a coach here and
But
trains here.
we don't talk it now.
Why? What happened? You got some drama? Have some drama?
No, it's okay. It's okay. Just because, how to say, when I used to have a gym in Beijing, so now Zhang Weili's gym called Black Tiger, and my gym but before he called Equilibrium Black Tiger, so I opened the gym in Beijing together. So, and Wei Li is the front desk, gym manager, and the fighter. And we were working together for about 2-3 years. And then Singapore, the gym losing money. Beijing losing money. So the both gym losing too much money. And then every time I go back Beijing to try to make Beijing gym getting better, Singapore has big problem. And every time I go back Singapore, the gym in Beijing got big problem. And then so I say, okay. So I we end up peace. So I give all my share to my partner. I say, okay, I give everything. I just leave. I don't need cash. I don't need cash or anything.
It's too much. Yeah, because
And,
one gym is difficult enough.
Yes.
When two,
Yes.
two is a
But
lot.
I'm telling you the story. I was bring brother Estima. went to Beijing, the gym in Beijing, do the workshop, training camp for 3 days. And then the day one, after the workshop, Wei Li used to ask Bra, hey, master, can you show me how to do a guillotine? Because when he's sparring with a man, they always end in that position. He always catch people guillotine. Man, he was a girl. He always catch some big boy guillotine, and then the boy always get out. And then brother show him, okay, you have to leave your wrist like that. You have to make your shoulder like that. You have to twist. You have to look up. And the next day, she submit everyone in the morning. By guillotine.
She's so athletic, man. She's one of those women that you watch her hit the pads, and you're just like, damn, she's so explosive.
Takeo used to, because when the gym just opened in Beijing, so I was sending Takeo go to Beijing, stay for a month, for check everything. After back, Takeo was young. She's so good, man. She training even more harder than men. I think that's why she's success.
You can see it. You can see it when her strength and conditioning. You watch her do strength and conditioning, just move weights, and you watch her hit the pads. Man, she is fierce. And the crazy story about her is like 5 years ago, she was just working a regular job, doing
my gym front desk.
Yeah, front desk. I mean, that's crazy. And now she's a champion, and she had that epic fight with Joanna. Damn.
Yeah. She's strong. She was very good in, because the problem for Chinese fighter is, especially for the female, is because we got the strong standard history.
Yeah.
So all the female fighter who go to UFC has very good standing up game, and a very tough mind, because some of them are national champion, and the national championship in China is crazy. It's horrible. It's
very competitive, right?
You have to fight for 7 days to get a national champion or get a state champion, and then you have to You have to check weight every morning. It's like ADCC. It's like Olympic. You have to check your weight every morning.
You can't cut weight or anything.
And then back then in China, the coach don't know how to cut weight technically, so they just pass you the pill to let you pee.
Oh, jeez.
That's why they are mentally so strong.
Diuretic, they
yes,
give you
just
the
pee.
diarrhea.
Yeah. Just make you pee everything out, to make your weight, and then they go through the national champion. They can be a national champion. Their mental is so strong. Yeah. So strong.
But the other stuff, the training,
but the ground game are so bad.
Yeah.
Wei Li, why she's so good is, before she got good standing up, her grappling was really good.
She already had a base.
Yes. And her jiu-jitsu coach is when Bruno Amorim used to working together with me. So I was asking, hey, we need to open a gym in China, so we need a black belt there. And then Bruno was asking around back to Brazil. So this guy, his name is Pedro Jodo. He's behind Wei Li all the time now. So he just finished university. He's a black belt, but he's same age as me, as Bruno, 35 years old. So he just become master. He don't want to compete anymore. So he want looking for a job. Okay, then we send him to China. So even even I leave the gym in China, so Pedro's still there. That's why he make Wei Li's jiu-jitsu is very good.
Oh, that'll do it. So he's her jiu-jitsu coach now.
Yeah. For 5 years, since beginning, since we opened. Since beginning.
That's good, man. I mean, that's the thing. Because all China needed was instructors, right? When I went there, right, when I went to Shanghai, it was pretty weird, because the woman that I worked for has had a bunch of Taekwondo schools, right? And Taekwondo in China is really developed, right? They're all very, very good. And so when I went, the whole purpose was to maybe add jiu-jitsu or MMA classes to the program, right? So we go. Basically what I did was, my job when I was there was to train the staff, right? And the staff were all Taekwondo, black belts. They were all whatever, karate, kung fu, all this kind of things, right? Most of them were Taekwondo. And so we start to do specific training. I go over the positions, right? The guard, the mount, side control, the back, all that kind of stuff. And as I'm going through the positions, everybody seems to understand it. And then I remember we do specific training, because I show them the back, right? So I'm like, okay, you need your seatbelt. The bottom person, you try to pull the arm, escape the choke, and the other person try to get the choke, right? And then I remember none of them had ever seen this before, right? Which is fine. But then it's all coaches, right? These are all black belts who've been training martial arts for years and years and years. And then I didn't think I needed to say anything, right? So I start on one of the coaches' backs. And then first thing I do, as soon as we start, we slap hands, we fist bump. I start to go for the choke. He reaches down, grabs my big toes, and starts pulling my fucking toes like that. I was like, ah! I mean, to be fair, he tapped me out. To be fair, he got me, right? I'm not gonna lie. I tapped instantly, and then he thought like, oh, that was. I tapped the coach immediately. I was like, dude, you can't rip my toes off. Like, I can't believe I have to tell you this. But you can't rip my toes off, right? And then, so he didn't know you couldn't grab toes. To me, it just seemed very bizarre that anyone would even consider grabbing the toes. And then I got the finger pulls and all that kind of stuff. And then I was like, okay, I need to rethink this because they don't know anything, right? I mean, to me, it's common knowledge. You don't poke someone's eyes. You don't pull their fingers. You don't grab their toes. But they didn't know. So they're just like, oh, okay, like this is what you do. And then I realized that like, it's pretty far set back. And then when you think of combining striking with wrestling, with jiu-jitsu and all of that stuff, you could see that it still needed to be developed on a large scale in China, but the potential is just crazy there. There's so many people. We went to all these Taekwondo schools, and every school that we were at would have like 30 or 40 kids. They're all in a line, right? Kia, kia. They're all like kiaing and stuff. They're all like listening. The coaches are super intense. Right? The coaches are like all the kids are terrified, right? And I just remember.
That's like, why Takio's dream is he want to go to China, be an instructor. He said, for sure I'm going to make some good students, just beat them up all the time. Make them listen to you.
Dude, they are very disciplined. I remember watching, and I don't know what your philosophy is, right? You're from China.
Yeah.
Did you train martial arts growing up? When did you start training?
I do sport. Like I was in a basketball team in secondary school. And
when did you start
school.
training martial arts?
After I moved to Singapore.
Oh, okay. So let me ask you this then. What would you prefer, right? You have a young daughter. Would you prefer, because here at Stronghold, we have a really expat community, right? Because we're in 6th Avenue, it's mostly expats. So we get the Chinese kids, we get the white kids, we get the Malay kids, we get the Muslim kids, we get everything, right? I think that, of course, you need discipline and you need to be strict with the kids, but I don't want the kids to be, like, afraid of me. I don't want to be like, line up, and they're just like, when I was in China, these kids were terrified. Like, they looked like they were about to get slapped in the face if they fucked around, right? And like, you could see that when the coach was like, hey, they would all, like, it wasn't respect, it was fear, right? And I was just like watching this whole thing. I mean, the kids all listened because they were terrified, right? So they all listened. So in some sense, I thought it was disciplined class. Like, I mean, the kids all knew not to go over the line. But I think you should live somewhere in the middle. If the kids aren't having fun, probably not the right move. They can't just do whatever they want, but I don't feel like they should also be terrified of the coaches. So, I mean, what was it like for you growing up? Is that pretty typical, or is that...
I think it depends.
It depends.
It really depends, because so-called China is too big and the population is huge, so have like so many different class of people, and then those parents have different requirement.
Some want you to be strict as hell.
Yes, others
want
kids,
more relaxed.
From their kids. Right? That's why it depends the area. For example, like even in Beijing and Shanghai, in some neighborhood, all the parents is very chill, and the teacher is fun. The kid is play around. But still have some gorgeous kids, genius kids, like have some good result in the sport. But some in some school area, it's like they not smile, they don't laugh, you know, like the spirit for us. So it's like very difficult to explain what's going on in China because too big, too many people. Basically, like for example, in Singapore, maybe the people like that only 1%, but in China, still 1%, but it's like 1 million or 2 million people. So you're still a lot, and you see different kind of people everywhere. So it's difficult to describe.
You get the whole spectrum.
Yes, right? But from me, it's like because my parents is from middle class, so they require me a lot.
What did your parents do?
So my mom doing her own business, and my dad is a police officer.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, so like they require me a lot.
So you were doing all the activities. You were always very busy, right, with stuff to do, and they were pretty strict. Okay, medium, I guess.
Kind of. They ask me a lot, but because they're too busy, they cannot watch at me. You know, it's a kind of weird feeling. You know, it's like they has high demand. It's young. You have to be that. But then even I not be there because they're too busy. They just and then that's it.
Yeah.
But I understand that, like, people from different class, they have different requirements from the kids, and then that causes the teacher doing in a different way. But this is true. For example, in China, the majority, if the coach play around. Oh, there's a story. Before I was bring Takeo and Bruno go to China top team to help Leach preparing his MMA fight.
Yeah.
And then because Bruno want to fight MMA, he was fight Kunlun fight, and so he won. And he had one fight in American, so he's good in grappling. So he want to improve his striking. So we go China, and then it's same as you. And then the China top team don't like the black belt at that moment, just because the black belt is too soft. Smile to the student.
Oh,
Don't beat them up.
Too nice, huh?
Too nice. It's like they are old black belt who are like my friends, like old school. Now he go back because he got some visa issue. He went, like, his name is Hui, and he was from Bela Horizontal, and he's used to share the same room with Jukulino, and Jukulino is Takeo's teacher. That's why we know each other. It's a small, and then so when Hui got his visa issue, he went back Brazil. So he found this black belt from Japan, Flavio. He's a really nice guy, cool dude. And Bruno and me were his friend as well. Now he opened Gracie Barra with Pedro in Beijing.
Oh, okay.
He's really nice guy. He was like, hey, if you get hurt, you don't have to train it hard.
Yeah.
Smart way, you know.
Brazilians are like that, man. Brazilians will smile at your face, like, hey, but they'll fucking kill you, like when you roll with
Flavio
like,
don't.
They smile at your face, though.
Yeah. but just because Flavio too nice guy, they don't like him. They don't like him.
See, this is the difference between like having a gym that's focused heavily on competition and having a gym that's trying to be profitable. Right? Like if I'm gonna come in, if I'm trying to open up this gym in this area, I can't just come in and like destroy my students. I can't like fuck them up. I can't just like ruin their life. Like this is a different thing, right? Like I need every person that walks in this door to enjoy their time here.
No, I think you have to be profitable first.
Yeah.
And then
otherwise the whole thing's gone.
Yes.
Right? I mean, everything's gone. But you know, I think that there's a middle ground, right? And the middle ground to me is like, okay, you come in here, you train for fun, you get one version of me as a coach. You come in here, you want to compete, you get a different version of me as a coach.
Exactly.
That's the move, right?
Exactly, yes.
Because then the casual people can come in, it's always fun. It needs to be fun.
Exactly.
They need to want to come back here, right? But then, okay, you want to do the competition, now you've committed to something that's much more difficult. You're committed to something that requires much more attention and focus and discipline. So then you get a slightly different version, right? And that's the move, because
that's why it's difficult to open a gym. That's why some people sometimes they ask, but they don't mean it.
Yes, I know.
And then it's so confusing so much. Okay, you ask, but I still have to make you happy. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting, right? Because you're maybe the second, other than Major. You know Major overall, the head coach. Great guy.
Yeah.
One of my closest friends.
I like him as well.
He's awesome, man.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
But he's the only other person I had on here who's an actual gym owner. So it's quite interesting to talk to another person about like, you know, the sort of trappings that you get. I think it's quite good for listeners because most of the people that listen to this podcast are just jiu-jitsu nerds, right? People that train locally have, you know, going through all of this, and the people that are very dedicated, I'm sure, have thought about what it would be like to open a gym. And it's a trip, man. So you had gyms here, you had gyms in China. What lessons did you take from that, right? Because you're dealing with two different demographics, you're dealing with two different types, populations. So you've got some experience there. So what advice would you give to the young jiu-jitsu practitioners listening to this that are like, have this idea in their head, like, we're going to open up a gym together. It's going to be
Don't open a gym. Don't open a gym. Really, it's true. Don't open a gym.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's like, it's
tough.
For example, if you how to say? Actually, you can open the gym, but you really have to think about it clearly before you open the gym.
It's really competitive.
It has a responsibility. You have. It's not an easy job. It's a hard job.
You're not gonna get rich from it.
It takes years and years to get used to it.
Yeah, I mean, you might make money, but you're not gonna get rich from it.
No.
Like that's not gonna happen, man. That's not gonna happen.
No.
It's interesting to hear because obviously I'm like both of you have coached me sort of thing. And it's fascinating from my perspective of the person who shows up to class to hear because obviously I absolutely love training at Equilibrium. Like I would have never left if my job hadn't moved where it was. Obviously, I love training here, my kids training and stuff like that. So it's fascinating from my point of view of the person who just shows up to class like, oh, this is nice to hear the perspective of, well, there's a lot that goes on behind the scene and there's a lot that goes into it to actually make those classes fun for the students, make the students enjoy it and stuff like that. Like, it is very interesting to hear the perspective.
Well, there's a lot of nuance to owning a gym, right? I mean, we mentioned earlier about like our business model is based on the fact that it's owner taught, right?
Yes.
So me and my wife and we have 2 other business partners. We own the gym, but we teach all the classes. Like for us, that was the whole move. Right, and it's because one, it allows us to cut costs, which is really, really important, but it also gives us a lot of control over the curriculum. Because I don't know how many coaches that you've had run through Equilibrium, but coaches can sometimes destroy your business.
Exactly.
Like you can have a lot of problems with coaches, man.
I used to have 5 coaches in one small gym, just like half your size.
5 people on salary, right?
Yeah.
They all have their own
The people on
opinion.
salary even more. 5 coach,
Yeah.
2 front desk, 1 gym manager.
And they all have their opinion, right? They all have their own issues. They all have all of their problems and all of their stuff that you as the owner have
Lucky
to
is Thai
balance.
guy don't have too much issue. It's nice. It's nice.
That's the move.
That's nice.
That's good. So, I mean, even for us, right? And it's even trickier for us because we're an MMA gym. So we have boxing, we have Muay Thai, we have kids jiu-jitsu, we have kids MMA, we have adult gi and no gi. Right? So we have an extremely diverse schedule, but only like 3 instructors that teach everything. So for us, that was the bottom line, right? And then you think about what that entails, right? That entails, number 1, paying your rent, right? Paying your utilities. Then, okay, we're getting on the ground level now. Then you have to deal with making sure the students want to come back in class, having a curriculum for every martial art that you run. You can't have a bad day. You can't come in pissed off.
Yes.
Right? And then the students see that and they feed off that. You can't, like, if you have any of these issues, man, you have a toxic work environment. That's another one I've seen at a lot of other gyms, right? Is you have all this. So there's just so much that goes into it that you don't see, and then you deal with like the marketing and then all of the drama between the individuals, the student and the instructor, and then every instructor they want to teach their thing, and then it's just infinitely complex, right? And you're just juggling all of that stuff.
Exactly.
And for us, the number 1 business model was no drama.
Yeah.
Same coaches teach all of the stuff, so you don't have a lot of problems.
Oh, and then otherwise is, I used to watch one documentary talking about the gyms in America. There are so many famous gyms. Even they have UFC world champion. They are on the edge of the broke, They are sometimes making money, sometimes don't. So listen, even the famous gym in America, in Europe, in Australia, with a huge population, they cannot make a lot of money. So don't think a gym can make a lot of money.
Yeah, unless you have tons of investment and you're very, very smart.
That's different game.
That's a different game. That's corporate, right?
That's different game. That's you run a martial art gym in a fitness gym way.
Yeah.
If you run a martial art gym, same as a fitness gym, you have a lot of instructors selling the private.
Totally.
So the instructor can pay themselves. So you can run it it's different business.
What was what was difficult for you? Like, was there something that stood out to you? I mean, I think for the people listening to the podcast, there's some valuable information here, right? 2 gym owners talking about some of the issues that they had. Was there something that stuck out to you when you opened up, where you didn't think it would be a problem, and then all of a sudden you're having this recurring issue? Was there anything that stands out from like difficulties opening up or maintaining or something like that?
It's difficult to find in a short time.
There's a lot, right?
Yeah, it's a lot.
There's so many day-to-day.
There's so many things ongoing in my mind.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, for me, it was the marketing.
yeah.
Right? For me, the marketing was tough because I don't know anything about marketing. And this is the thing, when you become a gym owner, all of a sudden you're responsible for the curriculum, the prices, the price points, right? You're responsible for the marketing. I'm the fucking head janitor, dude. I mop the floor. My wife and I clean the floors, like all the laundry, like, every little thing. But this is why we can make money. When I worked at Trifecta, right, there were 2 Thai coaches, 2 or 3 Brazilian coaches, me, who did both. I taught striking and I taught grappling. We had 2 admins working, plus the owner of the gym. So 5 or 6 people every day. My wife and I do the same work, just 2 people, right? Which includes mopping the mats, right? Like the basic bitch shit no one wants to do, right? It's included in that. And so then you think about like something that I didn't know anything about marketing. I didn't study marketing. I have no idea how to make people find out about this thing, right? So something that really struck me in the beginning, because for the first 2 or 3 months, we had like 4 people in class, 5 people in class. That's it. Right? It was the same like 4 or 5 people every day, and got to the point where like month 3, we were just like, damn, how do we had to start to figure it out. We had no idea, right? And then we started trying to figure out social media and doing all of these things, but it was a learning process, right? I mean, even though like I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu, I'm a white belt at running a business. It's been 1 year, right? So you have to learn all of these things as you go.
I never think about marketing.
Yeah, right?
To be honest.
But then you're like, oh, it's probably pretty important.
It's really difficult. You know, it's like sometimes people come into the gym asking, is this Evolve? I say no. No. Because it's on the same street on Ultra Road.
Because they know marketing.
Yes.
Say whatever shit you want about Evolve. They know how to market.
Yes. But I think we never could be businessman like that.
Yeah.
For run a business like that, you have to.
You must have gotten better.
Your cost of the month supposed to be 20% is your liability, like your rent, your bill, your utility. Supposed to be only 20% your cost, and 80% is your marketing. This is how the big gym running.
Once you break even, right? You get to the point where you're profitable, then so much of it.
Yes.
And then you know what's even weird about that, right? The marketing. So, I mean, this was again stuff I didn't know how to do. Like I had to build the website, right? And the first one I did was shit. The second one was a little bit better.
My website used to get hacked to become a porn website.
They used to what?
Yeah. Like it's been got someone hacked for.
Oh, I got hacked.
Yeah. For once, like it's like all the pornography is on the website.
Oh, you got trolled. You got hacked, and the porn came out.
Yes.
All of a sudden, you're like looking at your website. There's tits on your website.
Exactly.
And you're like, well, I didn't sign up for this.
Exactly.
That's hilarious, man. Yeah. I mean, so that's the thing, right? I didn't know how to make a website, but then all of a sudden we need one, and it's like, well, you have to. This is something you have to figure out. So even when it comes to marketing, you have to decide, like, okay, how are you going to market your gym? What are your, like, taglines? Now you need photos. Now you need, like, clips of people training in class. Then you need to make, like, a fucking commercial for Instagram or for whatever it is, right? I mean, there's just so... everything is...
Yes.
You need clothes. You need to make a shirt.
I know something more difficult than marketing now.
Right?
I got something that's way more difficult than marketing.
What's that?
The bill collection.
The bill collection.
Yes. To be honest, like I was checking by last year, I got 500,000 uncollected bill.
Uncollected?
Yes.
500,000?
Yeah, 500,000. Yeah, Singapore dollars.
Oh my God. Bro, you gotta get on. You gotta start breaking some kneecaps. You gotta get a baseball bat and show up at people's house.
It's difficult.
Yeah,
but it's calculated. For example,
you're getting cheated.
For example,
man.
like you signed 1 year contract, and you just left.
Yeah.
And then it's really difficult because in China, why the gym becomes successful? Because there's a WeChat, and you're using everything from WeChat. Your marketing from WeChat. You contact your student from WeChat. The payment gateway is from WeChat. In Singapore, it's very difficult for the small gym.
Yeah.
For example, do you have gyro in your gym collection?
Gyro collection? No, we use
no, right?
We use GlowFox.
What's that?
GlowFox. It's like an app. It takes all the payments. It's the sort of infrastructure that all of that everything's built around. So people check in. Like right now, we can only have 10 people in a class, right? So they have to check in on this app, and they have to pay through the app, and then it shows who all's in the class. So that's what we use.
It's like But from my story is, for example, from my own experience, I used to train in Evolve, and then when I was back to China for a while, I stopped frozen my membership, and I didn't go Evolve for 1 year. They're still charging me every month. You know?
You know, the guy that gave me my black belt,
Yeah.
right? So I'm like a Hodger Gracie lineage. So Nick Gregoritis gave me my black belt, and he's Hodger Gracie's first black belt. And so it was really interesting. I mean, I don't know what your experience has been like with Takeo, with other instructors, but it was interesting for me because from my history, most of the black belts that I met, all they were ever interested in was teaching me jiu-jitsu. I didn't get any business talk. Right, it was all like, this is how you do an armbar, this is how you pass the guard, this is how you sweep. From no instructor that I ever had taught me any business about running a gym. Right, but then in the beginning of last year, middle of last year, whenever it was, when we opened up this gym, we affiliated with Jiu-Jitsu Brotherhood, which is Nick, the guy that gave me my black belt, it's his affiliation. And it was really interesting because the first time I ever met him, he came to Singapore, we paid for him to do it, he taught some seminars. All he talked to me about was business. He didn't tell me how to do an armbar, he didn't tell me anything, right? All he talked about was like, this is what you need to do to have a business, this is what you need to do successfully. Number one thing he said, get as many students as you can on recurring memberships. Because so many gyms, you can pay for the full year in advance, you can pay with cash, and then it's cheaper. He's like, no. Get everybody to pay monthly.
Yes.
Get them on the credit card.
I don't like upfront payment.
Yeah.
They make you looking good. Okay, I break you in this month.
Yeah. Your books.
And then they don't have to pay the next.
Exactly. Your books get all fucked up.
Yes, exactly.
You're like, oh, I'm good. And then all of a sudden, for 2 months, you're bleeding, right? So when you get those people paying monthly, we do ours bi-weekly every 2 weeks, because then it's even clearer, right? So our payment structure is every 2 weeks. And all he told me the whole time I ever talked, I mean, I met him, I was already a 4-stripe brown belt for like 2 years. So, right, all he was interested in was talking to me about business, and it was so refreshing.
Man, you
he
got a
like,
really
hey,
good teacher, man.
Yeah.
Takeo have zero signs about business.
Dude, I loved it. But this is the guy that...
It's very important.
It's so important. I didn't know any of that shit.
I learned that after 4 or 5 years. That's why I changing my bills like structure is so much more better. Because before, I try to make people stay long, right? So it's like they have upfront payment and every month payment. And like if you sign a 1 year contract, it's very cheap per month. And many people just come 2 months and never show up.
Yeah. That's why you have to get them on the recurring thing. Because then you can estimate, okay, I have exactly this much coming in every month. Then all the other stuff is just bonus, right? It's just on top of that. But your monthly nut is covered because you see, oh, I have this much coming in every single month. It gets consistent. For gym owners, it gets much easier to process because there's some monthly income that you can clearly see as you go.
And for gym who can got that service to ask the bank automatically charge from your account, all big corporations like Fitness First, California Fitness.
Because they know.
Yes.
They know.
No, they have like 10 million in the bank. So that's why the bank will do everything you want. It's like, okay, I was called DBS, they say, can I have a personal banker? Okay, 3 million. To have a personal banker. It's okay, bye-bye.
But you know why they do that? Because it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And this is the thing. So this guy just kept giving me all it was business talk. He told me, so he never told me how to do an armbar. He never told me how to pass the guard, but he told me how to structure my class. He told me how to prioritize certain types of payment over others. He told me like nonverbal ways to communicate with somebody. He literally comes up to me one day, and it's funny, right? I told this story on the podcast before. So the first time I met Nick, the guy that gave me my black belt, he comes up to me. He puts his hand on my shoulder, right? He's like, gives me a squeeze. And he's like, it's nice to meet you. He looks me in the eyes and he talks to me. I noticed it, but I didn't say anything, right? It's just when somebody does that to you, you kind of know. If they put their hand on and they squeeze you and they look you in the eye and they shake your hand, and it's physical, right? And so something triggers in your brain where it stands out from every other introduction that you get when you meet people, right? You just don't think like that. So he comes, he squeezes my shoulder, he looks me in the eye, he shakes my hand, we start talking. I noticed that he did it, but I didn't say anything. Then the next day, he comes in, he observes the class, he gives me notes, not about my techniques that I'm teaching, but about how I'm teaching the class. So it's not you should teach it this or you should do this move. He's like, do it this way, right? Which is like, make sure you bow into class every time. Don't talk when other people are talking. He gave me other tips like when I teach a technique, after I teach it, ask people, give me a detail. Tell me one detail about the armbar I just told you. Oh, you pull up the elbow like this. Okay, next one. Give me another detail. Okay, you stretch out and then you post on the shoulder and throw the leg over. Okay, the next detail, you pinch the knees and then you break the grip. Whatever, right? But you go through, because if they're starting to drift, they're not focusing so much. It draws them back in when you question them, right? And then, so he gave me all these details. And then he told me afterward, he's like, yeah, and boys, he said guys specifically. He's like, guys, especially jiu-jitsu guys, they're very into physical contact. It registers differently from them to most people on the street. And he's like, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but when I first met you, I looked you in the eyes, I touched your shoulder, I squeezed it, I gave you some kind of physical connection, and then I started talking to you. And I was like, dude, I noticed that the second you did it. I didn't know that what you were doing. And then he told me that it was like a technique he uses to like get people to focus on and connect with him instantly. And then he gave us all these other details about like if you get a text message or an email, push it to a phone call so you're actually speaking to them. And then when you speak to them, get them to physically come into the gym to see you. It was all business stuff.
Ask him come here do a workshop for us.
Yes, but not even jiu-jitsu, right? I just want a business workshop for the guy.
It's very important.
It was excellent.
It's very
excellent.
important.
I loved it. And then, now that I'm getting to the point where we've had the business here for a year, I'm starting to train in my head. Nobody listening to this will know who I'm talking about, but in my head, I'm starting to train assistant coaches, people that I want to teach the classes in the future. And I'm really, really like aware of all this business stuff that I never had. And I really appreciate that. No one ever talks about the business of jiu-jitsu, the business of martial arts gyms. They're kind of just like have an idea in their head and then they go and do it. But someone like you has experience doing this stuff, so I feel like you can relate to the challenge that's so different from like training and then trying to make it a successful business.
Yes, and when you try to make the business become success, your training never fun anymore. That's why I find a manager now. I try to go away from the business. I want to enjoy the training. Yeah.
So you're still training?
I still training.
When was the last time? Do you compete?
Last year?
Oh, you competed last year?
Yeah.
Nice. Here in Singapore?
No, like Asian Championship.
Oh, nice. How was that? How did that go?
I got silver.
You got silver?
Yeah.
Excellent. You're a purple belt, right?
Yeah. But I was so bad in the final.
What happened?
I made 6-0 in first minutes. I sit down, sweep and mount. And then the guy take out, sweep me, mount me. It's
just right away.
So it's 6-0, like 12-6, 12-8, and then I got the armbar last minute. I feel so bad.
It happens, man. But that's a good fight. All you can ask for, man, is a good fight. I don't care if you win or lose or whatever. Like, if you have a good match, like, there's always progress you can make.
But I think I kind of give up.
Tired, or it was because you were up so much, and then as you started,
that's why I didn't happy. It's like
mentally you just started.
Yeah, I think mentally I give up. That's why I become loose. I think that's why I wasn't very happy, and also because I was training for 5 minutes, and then the fight was 6 minutes. I said,
extra minute. You feel that, hey?
Yeah.
I've done that before. I've given up in a fight, man. It happens. Like I remember my pro debut. It was kind of a give up. Like my pro MMA, my first ever pro MMA fight. I got my my meniscus torn in the first 30 seconds of the fight. Right.
Wow.
And the guy leg kicked me. He leg kicked me one more time. He tried to leg kick me a third time. I jumped back, and then my leg like went sideways, and I landed like on the side of my foot, and it just tore my meniscus. I didn't know at the time. And then I finished the first round. And then I was on the top, ground and pound. I won the round. I won every minute of the round. But I was on the top, throwing ground and pound, throwing elbows inside the closed guard. And then right as soon as the round was over, I stood up to go back to my corner, and my knee didn't have any stability.
I think knee is really different.
Yeah, but I remember, even though there's something there, I also remember thinking, like, it was already fucked up, right? I mean, like, I could still move on. Other people would have fought through it. That's where my head was, right? And after the fact, I was like, oh, did we lose, who's, his?
Thanks.
Okay, we'll finish up soon. But I remember thinking other people would lose this. You could probably flip that one. Yeah, totally the move. But I remember thinking other people would have fought through it. And it's like once you get an injury in a fight, there's no going backward. It's already injured. So it's not going to get like worse injury. It's already torn. It's already fucked up. And I remember thinking like for months and months and months after, I was like, I quit. I could have fought through. You know, maybe I would have got knocked the fuck out. Maybe it was better for my brain if I did. There's all these things that go through your head.
But to be honest, the ligament is always a different scenario, especially the knee, you know.
But the meniscus is not as bad as like the ACL. You're right.
How you feel?
Both.
How you feel at the moment? You feel loose, unstable, or
it was unstable, but I remember feeling scared more than anything because I knew I had a somewhat serious injury. I was fighting a really big power puncher, and I knew I was pretty seriously injured. And then I had to decide, right? I was like, do I continue with this? Do I risk getting fucked up while I'm having a serious injury, or do I back out? And then I'm having trouble putting weight on my leg, and then I'm in the corner, and the doctors, or the nurse, I think it was a nurse, that was telling me like, I don't think you should go. And then I was just like, okay, fine.
But to be honest, I know some people, he go through the fight when he got a broken arm, but he give up the fight when he got a knee injury. The feel is different.
It's scary too.
The feel is really different. For example, if you got the, like you feel my bone got this like how to say friction, or I broke my forearm, or maybe I broke my toes, you still can fight, but your knee. Really, man, it's really
back
different.
And neck
you know?
are rough.
It's really different. It's really different.
But you know what's interesting though is like, how many times have you competed? A few.
I compete quite a lot before.
Quite regularly.
Like every year, 4 times, 4-5 times.
Oh, so that's quite frequently. So you understand the mentality behind competing, right? You always have in your head an expectation of how things are going to go, and then sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't go well, and then so much of the issues that you have are just reliving it. What could you have done differently? What could you have done this? Even though even you telling me like, oh, you think you gave up during the fight. It's crazy, right? How you get into your head about, and you're like, but that's why it's so good, because would you rather never know what it feels like to be in your head thinking about that because you never did anything, or would you rather have those difficult thoughts about yourself, right? Like if you have a tough fight and you don't come through the way that you do, are you happy because you found out something about yourself, or are you disappointed because maybe you found out something you didn't necessarily like about how you did it? Would you rather know? Or would you rather be like naive and just pretend like you're great, you're excellent? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. I rather know.
You rather know.
Yeah,
right?
I rather know.
Because sometimes you meet the occasion, and then other times you don't, or maybe you're just better, or maybe you're worse than the person that you're competing with, right? But it's just putting it out there, putting it on the line that makes it special, I think. Whether you win or lose, right? I mean.
Yeah, but it's very difficult to make the plan before the fight. I understand. It's like when the fight cannot go through with you, it's like you were thinking you're gonna do something, but this just didn't happen.
When do you feel the most stress? Is it like right before, like 5 minutes before you compete?
I just feel stressed the first fight. After first fight, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I just always stress first fight and final.
Yeah.
First fight and final. After first fight, I'm okay, and then final. Oh no.
Yeah. Then you're like, yeah. Which is crazy because even like just being in a final is already a testament to your skill.
But that's what it's really funny feel, you know, when you go to the final, you're kind of okay. I'm in the final. I want to give up. Oh, I don't want to give up. I want the champion. It's like it's the most difficult time. You're fighting yourself, you know.
Yeah.
It's like I really most time you lose because you lose yourself. You don't want to, like, for me it's like that. That's why every time in the final it's like I'm in the final already. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
I didn't train hard. I didn't prepare well. Oh, I want to be champion. Always like that. Always like that. That's why sometimes I hate to be the final. You know, it's like it's one more fight in my mind. I should be really just to get silver on the, you get medal.
Be over with it, right?
Yeah, just get medal. You're happy already. Or you're really it's difficult.
Yeah.
Really difficult.
So much of it is mental. right? So much of it is just that psychological, those things that you go to. Because, I mean, I started out wrestling. That was my first ever amateur wrestling in America.
Man, your mental is very strong.
Well, it
Because
helps.
wrestling is hard.
But I remember going through those same thing, all of those competitions, and then I just remember, like, you know, even here, if you compete in some of these jiu-jitsu competitions, especially if you're like under 76 kilos, you might have 4, 5, 6 fights. Like, by the time you get to the last one, you're just drained, right? You're just so mentally exhausted. And
Man, it's crazy. I used to fight like 76 kg blue belt adult Euros. I saw the line. I said, I don't want to fight.
Yeah, because you're like, I'm good for 1 or 2, but like,
I don't want to fight, man. I don't want to fight. And the blue belt is like, man.
Blue belt is the scariest.
Crazy.
It's the scariest
So
division to
scary.
compete against.
So scary.
I think it's the worst.
It's worse.
Because you could be a blue belt like competing against somebody who's like a black belt, or you could be a blue belt competing with a fucking white belt. Like the spectrum, like once you get to purple or brown, you pretty much know what you're dealing with, right? You're dealing with good technical people. But blue belt, I've been tapped by blue belts before, and then some blue belts like have been training for a year or two. That's the Wild West, dude. When you're a blue belt, like you go to those competitions, that's when you never know what's gonna happen, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
that's a wild trip. That's the most unstable rank in jiu-jitsu, I think.
That's why fight is a mental game. If your mind is strong, you will be strong.
Yeah. Yeah, because you definitely meet those people. I've met those people that you just can't break. Even if they're white belts, they're beginners. There's some people that have that thing in their head where you just like, I teach a few Russians.
Like Mia brothers.
The Mia brothers.
Yes.
You rip their foot off. They don't give a shit. They're like...
Man, like there's a story. I know the story is like for Joao Miao, and like this Majid tell me when Majid came to Singapore. Before he came to Singapore, they went to Russia for the ACB fight, and then like he and the Joao both supposed to stay in the backstage, and that was right after World No-Gi, and I think Joao get a gold medal, but he got a toe hold. He didn't tap, so.
They never tapped with those
Yeah,
toes.
and Majid told me, he showed me the photo. Young, look at his ankle. He said his ankle is like this big, purple color. For sure, you'll need to put some casting like that.
Yeah.
And he was in the backstage alone, no corner, no teammate, just sit back there, shaking as you're.
Yeah.
And Majid tried to be nice. He said, "Hey, bro, are you okay? Are your foot okay?" Because Majid, he's American, but he's Brazilian
He's
as well.
the one that did the footlock to him?
No.
just different.
But they fight
Different
together, same date in the ACB in Russia. And then he said, "Do you think your foot can fight? You don't have to fight, you know. If you need someone talk, I can help you go to talk to them." And the Joe just look at them, open his bag, open a bottle of painkiller, put in his mouth.
Tequila?
Painkiller. Painkiller.
Painkiller. Oh.
Yeah, painkiller.
Oh, yeah.
The hand of painkiller in his mouth, put in his hand,
Let's go.
and the pre-workout, boom, boom.
Yeah. The pre-workout with 200 milligrams of caffeine. Let's go.
Water.
Painkillers and
And
caffeine.
then I can fight anyone, anywhere. Let's go.
That's it, man.
It's crazy.
Yes, some of this stuff is crazy. That's interesting, man. Yeah, because everybody has their different limits, right? I told the story last week on the podcast. I teach some Russian kids, and these Russians, man, they're just bred differently. They like pain. They like it. Most people are averse to discomfort or pain. They try to avoid it. And good people, like just well-balanced human beings, like they look for difficulty, but not too much, right? They want a strenuous life, but they don't want to like live with. Russians are different. The harder, the more difficult, the better. I had this kid come in. I teach the brother. The brother's called Vlad. He has a twin brother called Sviat. They're both from Ukraine, but with Crimea, which is now Russia. And these guys, like, it does not matter what you do to them. They want to be. They don't even want to go harder. They want to be beat up more. Right? This is the weird thing. Like, they don't want somebody to go harder with them. Like, they want you to hit them harder. And I'm just like, guys, you don't need this. You don't need this in your life. Like, I want you to be good and technical and defense. And they're just like, no. Only heart. All they care is heart. You beat me, you beat me, you beat me. I keep coming. All is heart. I'm like, no, I want you to keep your hands up. And they're like, no, heart. And I'm like, guys, no, seriously. Just protect yourself. Good defense. And all they talk about is just heart, heart, heart.
That's
They
right.
just-
Sometimes jiu-jitsu is good for those kind of people because you can control them.
Yes.
If just
chill
the
them out.
striking, they maybe make you tired.
Just bring them down a little bit.
Yeah, chill
Just
out.
chill them out, man.
Chill out.
Some people need that. Some people. Could you imagine if some of these people that do jiu-jitsu, they train martial arts, they didn't have this as a way to just exercise those demons? If they didn't have a way to just get this out of their system, they would all be starting fights in the streets. They would all be like crazy in jail, all that kind of stuff. Like martial arts has helped so many people just deal with their aggression and their stress. And pretty much everybody listening to this podcast can probably relate to that. Just feeling in your chest when you're ready to just, you want to go punch something or punch someone or do what, you just have this aggression. And it's such a positive way to channel that energy. You know, with like without
Exactly.
it. Without it. What was it like for you? What were you like? So when you started martial arts, had you always wanted to do it? Did you see MMA and then it hit something in you? Like what was the catalyst, the starting point for you wanting to train?
Oh, it's kind of funny. I used to skateboard when I was young, and I was like running a skateboard company when I was in London, and I sponsored some skaters, and I skate myself as well. And then I broke my knee, broke my elbow. That's why I understand your feel, you know. I hurt my knee so many times from skateboard.
So you're like, I get it.
Yes, I get it. I know knee is a huge issue.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yes, it's tough. And then, so I had the surgery in my knee, and then I broke my elbow. So look, this part is still
Oh yeah,
a
it's
bit
sticking
point
out
out.
there.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And then I decided cannot skate anymore because after I getting old, if I fall, like I feel really hurt.
More
It's
serious.
really hurt. And I moved to Singapore doing business. And one day when I walked past Evolve, I saw people like brick fall, front row, back row, rolling. I said,
What is this?
yes, maybe I treat, but I know it's jiu-jitsu.
So you knew you had some knowledge before of
Yes,
what it was.
because from manga when I was a kid.
From manga.
Yeah, from manga.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, I know jiu-jitsu since like it's a funny manga talking about karate fighting sambo, and then the guy pick up some move from jiu-jitsu.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
So you found out about mixed martial arts jiu-jitsu from manga.
Yeah, from manga.
Wow,
When I was a kid.
interesting. Oh.
So I always want to do, but I go to skateboard, like it's so much fun, hang out, like just the skating. And then I say, oh, maybe I start training this again. If I know how to jumping, front row, brick fall, maybe I can skate again.
It does help.
Yeah.
You learn how to fall. Is
Yes,
important.
yes. But after I train jiu-jitsu, I don't want to skate anymore because I don't want to get hurt. Stop my training.
Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, jiu-jitsu's safer than skating. Getting strangled and have your arms simulated being broken all the time is like way safer than which is true. It is safer. It is safer for the most part. But it's kind of funny that like a combat martial arts in your head was like way safer than skateboarding, which it is. It definitely is.
Yes, but accidents in front of me everywhere.
So what was your like first day? And like, what did you have that point where like somebody started to like choke you, do these things, then all of a sudden you're like, damn, I need to learn.
Oh
this.
yeah, the first day Takeo put me sparring with Amos. He's a guy who now he stopped training. He's a bodybuilder now, very strong. But he used to first the Singaporean world champion
Oh really?
when he was white belt. When he was white belt, like Takeo bring him go to American fight like world championship. He win fight. He fight 5 times and win 5 and get world champion.
Wow. IBJJF?
Yeah,
What's his name?
IBJJF. Amos Cha.
Ah.
He used to very famous because when he was white belt Juvenile, like the brown belt from other gym cannot pass his guard, purple belt, very flexible, but he training very hard. Like I still remember, there's a Hanzo Gracie behind of the gi, right? When I go to Amos' house, because he got a house, sometimes he training in his backyard. His gi, the Hanzo is gone
Oh.
in 1 year because training too much on
Yeah.
floor,
Oh,
spinning
really?
too much.
So did he burn out? Is that what he
Man,
did?
and
Just
then the
burned
first
out?
time Takeo put me sparring with Amos, I was 26, 27 years old, like strong, heavy. Amos like 15, 14, small, grab my pants. Suddenly he's on me, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. And suddenly he's on me, and then I realized he told me, tap. I don't even know how to tap, you know,
don't even know.
because he swept me straight on the triangle, sit on me, and I don't know tap. I just oh wow.
And then your eyes.
Yes,
eyes open,
yes,
right? And you're like,
yes.
Oh shit. There's so much here.
Yes.
You know, it's funny.
So much
'cause
fun. Yeah.
Everybody has that story. Everybody has that story. Like, you know, it's like coming out of the cave, right, where you're in this darkness that you don't understand, and then all of a sudden you come out, the light hits you, your eyes are open, and you realize like that jiu-jitsu is a superpower.
And to go back, to be honest, remember you was asking me, the teacher in China must be serious, right?
Yeah.
Why there's so many instructors involved back then? Why I chose to Takio? Because Takio never laugh. He's very serious. I said, oh, he's a good coach.
This guy.
This guy.
He's the one.
This guy.
This salty motherfucker is
Yes.
the one that I want.
This guy.
It's funny. I was always like that
It's
too.
like
with
because sometimes I know I'm doing wrong, and then the other coach, maybe they're too busy, they don't say anything, but Takio scored me like 100 times. Yo, motherfucker, you're doing wrong. I show you something that can not do that. I said, maybe he can make me good.
You know, some people love that. Like,
Yeah.
you get, it's so weird with coaches, right? With instructors, because I'm the same way. My Muay Thai coach, Krunoi, Krunoi Sidyotong, he used to teach at Evolve as well. But, and he was the Muay Thai coach at Trifecta. He's the same way. He's salty as fuck. He never says anything nice to anyone. Like, you're hitting the pads with him, he'll just swat you in the head. You're like, oh, God, and then he'll just keep hitting you. But then somehow, after it's done, you're like, that was awesome. Like, it doesn't make any sense why you like that, but some people love a coach who's aggressive with them. Some people don't want a coach that laughs.
Exactly.
I'm very like loud and gregarious and like I'm happy and yelling and joking all the time. But some people like that, just that salty person and just beat them up. It's so weird. Like everybody's got, you wouldn't want that as a business owner, right?
No,
in your
you
head,
don't want
you
that.
wouldn't want that.
You don't want that.
But some people respond well to that, which is weird, right? But you can't plan for that. You
Yes.
can't be like, you know who I want? Somebody that's unrelatable, that's super aggressive, that doesn't smile or laugh. That's who. But some people love that. Like, so it's weird. It's weird.
I think Takao, obviously, brilliant coach for me. But I'll throw it up as well. What absolutely amused me was, I'll put it on screen, that he was at like my daughter's first ever BJJ lesson with him, and he was just a completely different person. He was like an absolute sweetheart to her. Just looked
After he got a daughter, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
but that's,
kids, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, zoom that in.
yeah, that's him up there. Like
Zoom in so we can see that.
Oh, right. Here we go.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Indy's first ever lesson with.
Oh, God, look how
with-
young
with
she
him.
is.
Yep.
Jeez.
Like he was I mean, he's a brilliant coach, but the difference between him coaching me as an adult and then looking after her, making sure she's
And in your head,
fine.
you're like, thank God, because if that was... Yeah, I want to get Takio on the podcast. I know he probably won't do it. Bruno, I talked to Bruno about it, right? Because Bruno Amarim came on the podcast. And I was like, yeah, the Equilibrium guys. And then Jacob mentioned you. And I was like, yeah, Takio for sure. And Bruno's just like, good luck with that.
Ha ha ha.
Good luck
Yes,
getting him on here.
yes.
Good luck getting him on here.
No, difficult.
Yeah, he's,
Difficult.
you know, the Brazilians are interesting, right? Because you can either, some of them are extremely outgoing. They love to talk, they love to laugh, they love to, and then other ones are just like, you know, they don't talk much. They go in, they teach their classes, they leave. Yeah, it's a trip.
Even Takio's friends cannot find Takio.
He's one of those guys.
Yeah, he not even on internet. He said, "If you want to see me, come to meet me.
Yeah.
You want to talk to me, come to meet me."
That's a good move, man. I bet you guys must be, and maybe we'll finish off on this point, but I bet you guys all must be dying to just get to phase 3, right? When we can roll,
Yeah.
do jiu-jitsu again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, hey, because we've been pretty busy.
I heard they're gonna
Announce something soon.
in a few weeks.
Yeah, no,
Announce something in a few weeks.
Get
So,
ready, we're going to announce something before too long.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
that's too difficult for us.
yeah, it's difficult for us too, man. I mean, BJJ was our most popular class. Probably 60 to 70% of our students were only, including kids, were only BJJ.
I think, and the BJJ is good for Singaporean, good
It's the
for
most
people in
popular, I
Singapore.
think.
Yes,
Everywhere
yes.
I've gone, that's always the most
Yes.
popular class. Some people like Muay Thai too, but yes, for 60 to 70% of our students are mostly BJJ. So I know as soon as they announce it, we're gonna explode. You guys will too. Like, so many people have been wanting to train for so long that like once they announce, hey, BJJ's back on combat sports, physical contact, it's all good to go. Man, the jiu-jitsu gyms that have managed to survive this whole ordeal are just going to be bursting with students. Like,
but also I think we have to be ready. We cannot be a situation like when phase 2 open, everyone boom come to the gym first day, and boom everyone injured second day. Because everyone, let's fight.
It's true. It's so true. I even thought about that, right? Because I have a speech in my head already on the first day that we have jiu-jitsu class, where I'm like, everybody, I know we're happy to be here, but settle down, because if you take out 8 months of pent up, no rolling on your sparring partners, everyone's going to be dead tomorrow. So pace yourself, don't hurt each other. I already know I'm going to have to say this.
There's a funny story in China. A group of my friends planning to open a gym just for themselves. So there's like 20 of them raising money up for the gym. So during the renovation, about 2 months, everyone get injured and out of the sport.
Yes, I know. It's totally true, man. It does happen. We had so do you train striking as well? Do you train
sometimes?
So I mean, I do everything, boxing, Muay Thai since beginning, right? I always did jiu-jitsu, striking, all of that stuff the same. So I teach everything. I teach boxing, Muay Thai, and in Muay Thai I like to teach the trips. You know how they'll sweep the leg and they'll dump you and all that kind of stuff. But the problem is a lot of my Muay Thai people don't know jiu-jitsu, so they don't know how to break fall. So they don't know how to fall. And then for like 2 weeks I was like, because to me it's MMA, right? It's like, okay, we can kickbox, but I can trip you. I can't double leg you. I can't mount you because it's too close, but I can dump you, right? So I was like, for MMA class, we'll do striking, we'll do trips, we'll do dumps, we'll do all that kind of stuff. And then I did it for a weekend. 3 fucking people got injured, right? And we're dealing with Corona times, right? So if I lose 3 paying customers in a span of a week, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta be careful with this.
Yes.
And it was the same thing. People not knowing how to fall properly. I got really excited because I'm like, there's no rules that say you can't teach trips. It's transient contact, right? It's quick. I'm not on top of people. And then,
actually, it's fun tricks. I like it.
Trips, they're fun.
Yes, yeah.
It's so good. Everybody that does MMA, especially if you're kickers, if you get on one leg, that's the time to trip people, right? But yeah, I think, man, once we get jiu-jitsu back, gyms are gonna explode.
I can't wait.
It's gonna be so nice.
Also, I cannot wait. Come here to do open mat.
Please, man, please.
Yeah.
And I'll send all my students to Equilibrium. We'll do a thing. You come here 1 week, I'll go there 1 week. I'm cool with all that shit, man. I let my students train. I have some students that pay membership here and they also pay somewhere else because they want to come here for one thing and then they want to go there for another thing.
Yes.
So I'm a fan of all that.
Get Yang in Spider Guard seminar. Everything you taught me about Spider Guard still to this day.
Is that your move? Is that your favorite? That's your favorite guard?
Yeah. Spider lasso. Actually, it's our lineage specialized because Takeo moved to Asia 1994, 1995 with Joculino to promote his video called Progressive Jiu-Jitsu. He's talk about spider guard, lasso already. So Joculino is a kind of first people doing spider lasso. So everyone we do spider lasso.
See, I hate that. I don't want to roll with you ever now. I don't want to roll with you anymore, dude. I'm an MMA guy, man. When it comes to collars and sleeves and lassos and barambolos and spider guard, I'm just like, fucking kill me right now.
But I to be honest, it's like for us, we train too much gi. It's easy to catch us guillotine. Every time we sit up like this. Hello.
What about heel hooks? How's your heel hook game?
Heel hook.
Have you done any of the new age stuff? All of like the Danaher?
Yes, I will. I bought all his videos.
Yeah, me too. You have to, man. You got to keep up with the times. Yeah, man. Let's definitely do an open mat. We'll do. We'll co-promote. We can do. I mean, I'll talk to you. I'm totally down. This podcast, one of the number one things I wanted to do was just like talk to people within the community, organize training, get to know people, because I mean, I love this shit. So, and I think we have to survive maybe till October, November, December, January, but I'm telling you, man, the wave is coming. Once we get out of this thing and they allow contact sports, where everyone's going to see a real
and
nice
I hope the
spike.
ADCC can still ongoing in Singapore.
Yeah, it's supposed to be December, right?
Yeah, a lot of people from China want to come to compete though.
Yeah. I hope so too. I don't know if it's doable, but I hear rumors they're trying to do a one championship show in October.
No, they have one championship. I know.
In Singapore.
Yeah, in Singapore.
They're scheduling it.
Yeah,
It's supposed to be done.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I keep hearing the same thing. So apparently there's going to be some form of, I don't know if anyone else know this, we might be breaking some news.
But the one championship, their rule is very strict, you know.
Yeah, because
They
I
like-
heard only Australia, Singapore.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Yes. And the people who fight one championship, they cannot come out to the hotel.
Yeah.
And every time you go to the hotel, you have to do the taste.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Plug inside your
Have you done
nose.
it? It sucks.
No.
It sucks. I had to do it. It sucks.
No, I saw my friends did it. It's horrible.
Yeah.
And in China, they do two sides.
Both sides?
Yeah.
Just to be safe?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, they offered me a fight. One offered me they told me about a fight in March or April because Bashir, you know Bashir Ahmad,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Pakistani guy.
yeah.
I'm friends with him from way back in the day, and he's one of the promoters now, and or one of the executives or whatever. And he told me about a fight in March that that an opponent they had for me. They didn't tell me the opponent, but I agreed to do it, and then that was like the same month circuit breaker hit. So I was wondering if I know they're supposed to do a show here, if maybe they're going to send me an opponent or something for October, but now that shit's too soon, man. I haven't rolled in a year. How the hell am I going to compete in a fight? How do they expect people? I guess people can train in like home gyms or like all that kind of stuff, but like I'm going to take a fight if you can't. I haven't rolled since March, pretty much. I don't know how they're going to, I guess they're going to find some guys who are just like, fuck it, let's do it. With no training. Because even Australia, I heard it's going to be basically Singapore versus Australia. And I know they've been on lockdown as well. So I don't know if they're doing jiu-jitsu or what their rules are, but...
They're, like, Victoria's under, well, I think it's still under strict lockdown, so they're not even kickboxing.
So if they do a fight in October, it's probably going to be pretty sloppy. Because those people will not have trained for a long time. But yeah, dude, once we get rolling again, let's figure something out. We can co-promote some open mats. We'll do some stuff, get our students training with yours, your students training with mine. Be cool. Jake told me that you were you did some private lessons. You coached him as well, right?
Yeah. Because like in the morning, only he wake up in the morning, come to the class.
Yeah. That's what happens when you have kids. You get there, you get to the old people classes.
Now I wake up early too.
All right, man. Well, let's wrap this thing up. Yang, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, it's my pleasure too.
Let's do this again, man. It was really nice chatting with you.
Yes.
Excellent. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Jake, I love you, dude. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yang,
Thank you,
I
Jake.
appreciate you too, guys. Everybody, check out Equilibrium, train with Takio, train at Stronghold. As soon as we can get jiu-jitsu, let's sort out something together, man. We just get together, we'll train.
Of course.
All right, everybody. Thank you. This is the Stronghold Podcast, and we are out.